What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's video we're going to be continuing on where we left off previously for our Auto Club building. So this is something that I've seen when I was visiting Hungary, when I was in Budapest. It's a really cool building, you can see it here. So this is the video that I've created last week where I show you how to, or the previous video where I show you how to model the shape of the building, and you can find that video by clicking on the link in the card above. Now in today's video we're going to be modeling the facade, so I'm just going to be showing you how to model this complicated facade inside of Revit. So that's going to be today's video. Now before I jump into that, I would just like to ask you to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link it up in the description of this video and then also up in the cards above. There you can find all of my Revit courses. So that's basically where I take the extra time to explain pretty much everything there is to know about Revit, slowly, step by step. So I have many different courses for many different topics, ranging from beginner to intermediate as well as advanced level users, so there's pretty much something there for everybody. Also there you can find my custom ready to go Revit templates. You can find some really high quality Revit families as well as a plugin, so check it out. Okay, now without any further ado, let's jump straight into Revit, and as you can see, this is the building that we have created in the previous video. So this is the building, and if you want to get this project file, actually you can get all of my Revit project files on my Patreon page, so I'm just going to include a link to that as well in the description and then also up in the cards above. Anyways, let's now build the facade. So as I've shown you, this is the facade of the building. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to create. So it looks fairly complicated, but it's actually not that difficult to model. So let me show you. I'm just going to be modeling this as an architecture wall, so a curtain wall. Obviously you can do it as a mass and then use curtain system. I personally think that approach is perhaps a bit too much for this particular example, just because it's a straight panel, so I think we can just go with a regular wall. So let's do it. I'm just going to go here to level, let's actually go to level 2 because that's where we can see the floor. Okay, so let's go here to the wall. I scroll down to storefront, and then we can just come in here, click like this, and then extend it all the way to the other side. There we go. It's almost in place. Okay, let's say that we're happy with this positioning. Then I'm just going to go to the, not the east, but the south elevation. We can see it here. And then we can extend it if we want, but we can pretty much keep it any size that we want for now, just because we're going to be editing the profile, so this particular shape at the moment doesn't really matter. So you just go here to edit profile, then you're going to delete these 3 sides, so just hit delete. Okay, and then you want to extend this all the way up. There we go, till there, and then all the way down up to here. We can go all the way up to the level. Next, let's do a horizontal line like this up to a certain point, perhaps like this. And now we can switch to a spline, for example, probably the easiest one to use here. So we can just go kind of like this, completing kind of the whole shape of this. Now obviously if you want to be precise, you would do way more points that I'm doing, and you would take the kind of extra time to fine-tune everything. I'm just trying to do this as quick as possible for this demonstration, so I'm just going to just do it quickly. And then here we're up at the top, so I don't want to go past a certain point here, so well, let's say this is enough, and then I'm just going to switch to a regular line. Oops, there we go, and then go up to here, and then we can connect this with an arc like so. Perfect. And then let's reduce this a little bit, and now we have that shape of the facade that we want. So once we have this in check, now we can just hit finish, so it's just going to kind of finish that shape, it is going to give you a warning saying that it's going to delete some elements. You can see they're highlighted here in orange. It's basically the kind of the outer edges of the previous curtain wall, so we're fine with that, so we can just delete that. Okay, so once we have this in place, let's actually flip it to the other side for now. So let's go to level 4, okay? And I'm just going to mirror it to the other side, and to mirror it according to the floor, I'm going to turn on the wireframe so I can see the edge here. So now when I select the curtain wall, when I go here to the draw mirror, I can select here the midpoint of this thing, so I can just go like that. There we go. And actually I selected copy, so I just don't want this one for now. I want to first customize this one, and then I can just mirror that to the other side. Okay, let's go back to the south elevation, and now we can get started. So what you want to do first here is you want to unpin these grids. So let's see, if I make a cross selection like this at the bottom, what I can do now is go into filter, and then I can go to check none, and then just check the curtain grids. Hit apply. Okay, so it's only selected now the curtain grids, and now I can unpin those. I can do the same thing vertically, so I can just go like this, and then I can go to filter, check none, curtain grids, apply. Okay, and then I can just unpin those as well. Okay, so once I have unpinned those, now I can play around with them however I like. So what you want to do first is just go to the modify tool, go to the align tool. AL is the shortcut, and then you just want to select this, oops, let's see, this level, and then select the curtain grid. So that's kind of the dashed line in the middle. See? There we go. Here I can just adjust this one. Here it seems to be perfect, and it is, so that's okay. We don't have to do that one. And then for this one, perhaps just add this. Okay, so the next step is just for us to look at this for a second. So you can see here, the floors are obviously here, and then we have these blue panels that are kind of showing us where the floors are, basically masking the construction part of that floor. So we want to have that here. So for that, we can just say, okay, here we have this extra grid. I'm just going to use the tab key a few times to select the grid itself. And then I can say, okay, the thickness of the floor plus the kind of the construction and all of that, let's say it's 40 centimeters. So I can just type in here 40, and actually let's go with 50. I think 50 would work a little bit better. Yeah, I think 50 is okay. Perhaps even 60, I don't know. No, let's leave it, let's do 60. Who cares? Okay, so once we have this set up, we can do the same thing here because we already have the grid. That's perfect, but what do we do in the other cases where we don't have that grid? Well, we can create new ones. So you can just go here to the architecture tab, you can go to curtain grid, all segments, and then we can add one here at 60. There we go. We can add one here at 60, and then just go all the way up. So just come off to the side and click, because if you go like this towards a horizontal one, it's going to create a vertical grid. But if you go at the horizontal grid, or at the vertical grid, or at the intersection of vertical grid, it's going to give you a horizontal one. So anyways, this one is at 60. Here we have one, and let's do one here as well. Perfect. Okay, so once we have all of these in place, we can see that I don't think I have any mullions running through this thing. So you can actually get rid of some of these vertical mullions where they're intersecting with this. Because for getting rid of the mullions there, let me show you. So if I hit the tab key a couple of times to select the curtain grid, I can go here to add remove segments, and then I can just say, okay, I don't want this segment and this one, and then I don't want this one, and I don't want this one, and so on. So you can just go like that, or alternatively, you can first set up the positioning of the vertical mullion, and then you can play around with the kind of removing the elements that you don't want. So for example, in this case, let's start from this side of the facade. So we can see here, we have kind of we have a window, and then we have this blue segment, and then it's kind of going off to the side, and then it's back, and then it's off to the side, and it's back, and so on. So let's imitate that. So I'm just going to find this grid here, okay, and then I want to say, okay, it's 120, let's do 160. Let's see, that looks almost like perhaps 140 would work better. Okay, so we have the first one. Then the second one after that, so that's kind of the midline. Let's see, why don't I have the dimensions here? Okay, here we go. So let's say I want to go, instead of 100, at 80. Just make it a little bit smaller. Or perhaps 100. Yeah, let's go with 100. Looks better at 100. And then I want this one to be at 100 as well. Okay, so now when I have this, I can start mimicking the shape that we have here. So let's do that. So what you want to do now is come here, and you can see that here we start off with the shape on the left, and then on the right, and then on the left. So I can say, okay, I want this one to be on the right, so I can select this mullion here, or this grid here, and then I can remove these 3 segments here. Obviously, I'm going to be removing the segments on these, kind of where the floors are, so you can just come in here and click on all of those. Okay, so I don't have it here, that means I do have it here, that means I don't have it here, and then we're just going this one, and I think the last one. Okay, so once we have that in place, let's go back to this grid here, and then again add remove segments. So here we have a segment, so that means we don't have a segment here. Same thing goes here, up here, and that should be it. Okay, so now it's kind of starting to take shape, you can see. Then obviously for this one in the middle, it's everywhere except, of course, here in between or where the floors are. So we can just go like that. Hopefully this is not too much. I know it can be a little bit intimidating at first, but as you can see, we're kind of getting a hang of it. We're kind of modeling this whole thing. And then we can just go back to this one. Yeah, as you can see, that's essentially what we've got here. So we have the zigzag of these panels. Another thing that you might want to do is obviously you're trying to mimic kind of how the building looks, and that means that some of these panels should be modified. So the blue panels obviously aren't transparent, so I can just select one of these. See, I can then right click, and then here we have select panels, and then we have a long horizontal grid. So I can select all of these panels horizontally. Then I can unpin those, and then I can make sure that these are set to solid, which is just going to make those solid. It's not blue like in the image, but we can modify that later. But I can just use the same approach. So I can select this one here, right click, select panels along a horizontal grid, unpin, and set to solid. And then you can just repeat that, and you can do the same thing with these. So this one, so you're just using first the tab key to highlight the panel, and then before you select, you hold the control key to add to selection. So let's see here, add this one, and then we have 3 more. Okay, unpin it, and then let's turn this into solid. There we go. So as you can see, these are now solid, and then we can kind of repeat the same thing for the rest of these. And now I'm just going to skip that real quick. And as you can see, I have now kind of completed the rest of this thing, at least those kind of blue panels that we have here. Now let's talk about this layout here in terms of these. You can see we have these windows that open, and then we have some that don't open, and we have some mullions and so on. So let's see, how do we recreate this? Now one issue that I currently have with this is the fact that we have a whole jungle of these vertical mullions. Now it might have been a good idea to set this up beforehand and perhaps set the vertical grid spacing to something different. Now it's a bit too late for that, but what you can do is you can set this to none. Now, why would you set this to none at this point? Well, let me explain. So here, if I try to select one of these vertical grid lines, and as you can see, it's obviously unpinned, I cannot delete it here. So as you can see, the delete option is grayed out. If I hit the delete key, it just doesn't delete that that grid line and the mullions that are associated with it. However, if I select the entire curtain system and then go to edit and set the vertical grid from fixed distance to none, and then hit apply and OK. Okay, it's going to, okay, whatever. Now what you'll see here is that if I select one of these grid lines, and now I can delete it. So I can now get rid of the ones that I don't need. So I'm just going to get rid of a few of them here, just because I kind of feel overwhelmed when I have too many. So let's delete this one and this one. Okay, so now we're kind of left with this. Okay, so let's see what do we have here. So we obviously have one additional horizontal grid here. So for that, what I would do is I would simply come in here with a grid, one segment, and then place it something like this at, let's say, 100 centimeters. Something like that. Hit the escape key a few times, select that grid line, and now what you would do is go to add remove segments, and then I would remove the segment here. Let's just remove it there for now. Okay, hit the escape key a couple of times, and now we kind of have at least this created here. Okay, moving forward, so here we have kind of a big spacing that goes up to here, and then we have a window down below here. So kind of looks odd, but yeah, let's try to recreate that. So what I'm going to do is just select this grid line here, move it out of the way a little bit, not too much out of the way, so something like that. Okay, so here we should have a window. So that's this window that I see here. So for that window, I would go to grid line, curtain grid, one segment, and then I would add one segment like this here, perhaps. Okay, and then I want to have one segment down below here, so I would add that one here. Now, because that should probably match with the one that's below, let's do the one below as well. So again, we want to add a horizontal grid line here, so just all segment grid line at 100 centimeters offset. Okay, add remove segments. Let's just remove this one here. Now on this side, as you can see from here, we should have one separation here vertically, so we can add that. So again, oops, not curtain system, curtain grid, one segment, and then we can add that one segment, small segment like that here. Okay, so then let's switch to east elevation, sorry, south elevation. Okay, so here we should be forming a window. So definitely this grid line needs to move a little bit, something like that. Let's try to select it again. I didn't get a dimension anywhere. Again, I don't see dimensions. So let's try that again. Okay, here we go. It shows dimensions here. So anyways, yeah, I want it to be from this one, perhaps 100 centimeters, or let's go 120 to form a nice little window there. There we go, perfect. And then you want to select that grid line, go to add remove segments, and then add a segment here in order to form that window here. So if I go back to the 3D, because it's a little bit easier to understand in the 3D view. So as you can see here, we have this kind of partition going on there. Then we have this window, which is this one here. So then definitely this one should move at least 120 to give us some spacing. Let's go back to the image. Or no, it can go 100 because that's where the window starts. So let's try 100. So it's a little bit of eyeballing, and it does take some time to kind of get used to this thing. Where are my dimensions? Sometimes it can be a bit difficult when you don't get the dimensions right out of the box. Okay, here we go. So this one should be 120. Okay, there we go. So now we can form a window here. And then for the rest of this thing, let's just see what else do we have here. So then we have a kind of a vertical gap. So that would mean just another one of these, just closer. We can even go at 80. Okay, and then for that one, or sorry, no, let's select the horizontal one first, add remove segments, and then I would remove this segment there. And then obviously here, the vertical segments, we don't need them here, or pretty much anywhere on this vertical line. So just like that. And then do the same thing for this one. And there we go, we're moving forward, slowly but surely. Anyways, let's see. So then we have the gap, and then we should have just another one of these with a window here. So obviously it's not going to be exactly like the model, or like the real thing, because I'm not using accurate dimensions at the moment, but you get the point. So maybe we can move this in a little bit. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's go with 160 perhaps here on this one, and then 120 on this one. Move it in a little bit. Okay, and that should give us another window there. Then we should have another kind of a vertical gap next to it. Perhaps I can, let's just add another vertical grid line like that at something. I don't know what I used here, so let's see, did I use 80? It's not going to show me the dimension. Okay, yeah, I used 80, so let's use 80 on this one as well. Okay, and then obviously I have to trim this down to can remove this segment here, and then for the rest of these as well. Same thing goes with this one, just removing the segments there. And then for this grid line, removing this segment here. And there we go, it's kind of starting to take shape. Now I'm not going to finish this whole thing in the video, just because it would obviously take way too much time, but what I do want to show you is just one additional thing, and that is how to add the windows. So I'm just going to select these two windows here, and then I can just unpin those, and then I can switch this to a window, but I don't have a window loaded in, so let me show you how you load in a window. So you just want to go here to the Insert tab, you want to go to Load Family. Now for the window families, you want to go to Windows, and then you want to find Curtain Wall Awing window. So that's the one that you want to use. So once it's loaded in, you just come in here, select these two, okay, and then here's the window, and now as you can see we have those two windows there, just like in the real thing. Okay, here I think we should have one here as well. So there you go, that's how you can kind of complete this entire building by simply kind of playing around, moving grid lines from side to side, and that's how you get this really complicated but interesting facade. And this is the facade that we get at the end. So I have kind of completed this, not completely, kind of according to the image, but I think it's pretty close. We have all of the windows in place. I think it looks really good. So anyways, this is the end result. Obviously you would have to model the additional part below. I'm not going to do that for this tutorial, and if you want to get this project file, as I said, the link to my Patreon page is going to be both in the description of this video as well as up in the cards above. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.